right, welcome back, Sports Show on this damn YouTube. Baseball trade deadline, excuse me. I'm too excited about this shit. It might be that or the code red. But trade deadline.
Calm it down.
Calm it down, boys. Pump the brakes. But trade deadline about 2 days away. Some big moves already going down. We'll get into that. MLB standings and running backs. Oh, disrespected running backs out there in the football. So let's just jump right in to the baseball standings here in the American League East. How is Baltimore in first place after that start that Tampa Bay got off to? Baltimore 63-41, followed by the Rays 64-44. This is the division that at least needs to get the respect. They're going over all the wins and losses, as every team in this division is over 500. Yankees last place, 55-49, incredible. The Red Sox 56-48. 7 games back, and we're going to slide over to complete opposite goddamn division, the Central. Minnesota Twins, 54-53, hanging on like a kitten in one of them damn posters. At 54-53, half-game lead over the Guardians. The Tigers, 47-59, 6.5 back. White Sox and the horrible fucking Kansas City Royals, 32-75.
40 games under 500.
Oh my God, man, 32-75. Out in the AL West, the Texas Rangers, 60-45, making some moves, some big moves on the pitching side, picking up Max Scherzer and Montgomery from the Cardinals, but trying to hold off the Astros. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll talk about this later if they maybe try and go out and get Verlander. But you got the Rangers 16-45 in first place, Astros at 59-47, and the Angels, at least they're above 500, but 55-51 in the National League. The Braves 67-36 in first place, 11.5 game lead over the poor Marlins. The Central, Cincinnati Reds. Who are these guys? 27 Yankees or the 23 Reds? Man, Ellie De La Cruz is absolutely killing it out there. I think he had 3 hits today, including a home run for the first place Reds. Second place Milwaukee, still hanging around a half game back. West, crazy here. The Dodgers have creeped their way back into first place. Giants in second, and the Diamondbacks in third, followed by the Padres. Disappointing as all shit. 51-54, and the poor Rockies.
They suck too.
Right. 41-64. The Rockies. So let's just do it here for the trade deadline. Jordan Hicks, a flamethrower from the Cards, going over to Toronto. They needed some bullpen help. 8 saves, 3.67 ER, 3.67 earned run average. And the Blue Jays at 59-47. Who do you think's going to come out of that American League East out there?
It's flip a coin between Baltimore and Tampa. I think Baltimore has played the most consistent baseball all year. Tampa seems to have been hot and cold the last 2 months, so my money's on Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. So many good young players out there, man. I love that lineup they had. Rutschman's going to pull this out, followed by the Rays. But Texas, and this is where it really was going on here for the trade deadline, at least up to this point. Scherzer, Montgomery 6-9, 3.42. Do you think this is enough for Texas to actually hold off the Astros at this point?
I like the Montgomery move more than the Scherzer one to do that. The Scherzer move, man, his if you look at his numbers, not just stats, like his velocity's way off, spin rate's down. So, I mean, yeah, and they got a lot for him. They got their top 2 prospects, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a big pull for him out there for St. Louis. For the Mets, as far as making that trade. I don't know, man. Scherzer might be one of these guys, though. He might be just kind of, playing for a team that was mediocre, at least for the Mets were this season. Get out there in Texas, get him in a pennant race. I know his velocity, like you said, is down. I've seen that as well, but you never know, man. Once you get thrown into the fire of a pennant race, especially since he's been through it with the Tigers and the Nationals, might be able to flip a switch right there. But that Texas team, though, even, they picked up the pitching side, but offensively, they didn't need to add anything. Lowe, Josh Young, Garcia, that catcher they got, Heim. So you added some pitching to an already dangerous lineup. Incredible shit. Now the Padres, man, what do you do if you're the Padres? You're 51-54. You got a mega payroll. I think you're only, 4.5 back, if I'm not mistaken. Do you trade Juan Soto? Blake Snell's his name's been thrown out there quite a bit. Do you sit pat, or you just kind of break the team apart and go for next year?
I'm selling this year if I'm them, because they've been disappointing the whole year. Like I just pulled up the game right now. They're playing the Rangers right now. They're up 4-3. But if you look at the averages in their lineup, I mean, they're not great. They're not terrible. A lot of league average guys, a lot of above average guys. But I mean, who do they have pitching in San Diego? Like that's notable, you know. So I think that's their big issue this year. Their hitting's been inconsistent. Their pitching is not great. And how do you remedy all of that at the trade deadline? I don't think you can.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they have all the stars they do on the Padres. I'm talking offensively, and all of them are having down years. Juan Soto, Tatis, every single last one of them really playing below what they normally do for the Padres. Now I want to get Shohei Ohtani as well. Blasted the Detroit Tigers, 2 home runs through a 1-hitter shutout against Detroit. Incredible performance out there in that doubleheader we had. How do you feel about the Angels saying that they're not going to move Ohtani? I think it's kind of dumb. I mean, I don't see him resigning next year unless some miracle they pull in the playoffs, make a big trade deadline. Maybe they pick up Blake Snell, maybe Juan Soto, go all in. But I just think it's kind of a weird move to not just ship him on, especially if you're not going to get anything in return once he leaves.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's fool's errand for them because I think they're 4 or 5 games out from a wild card spot right now.
Yeah, I think it's
so
4 back for the wild card.
I mean, it's not like they're in a position to really do it, you know. So, I mean, cool. You get into playoffs. Where are you going? You know, that's the thing. Like, yeah, we want to go and compete in the playoffs, but being a playoff team and being a championship caliber team are not the same thing. They're 2 different teams. 2 different things, excuse me.
And it's never been mentioned, but how long does Mike Trout want to stay out there? What if you have the same situation next season where Trout says, hey, if we don't get in the playoffs or if we're in a pennant race, I want out of here by the trade deadline? Because I think the clock's ticking on that one. How old is Trout? He's got to be about 32, 33 years old at this point in his career. So
and how about his injury history?
Yeah. So you would think he wants out. I don't think he really has that much time left as far as playing at an elite level. I mean, you can argue he's already kind of dipping at this point as it is.
He's 31, by the way.
31, yeah. So I don't know. If I'm Trout, honestly, if they're trading Ohtani, I want out too. Because you're going to have to be sitting there in the middle of a rebuild. You're already 31, you said. So you're 31 years old. You're looking at least, well, the way the Tigers do it, 10 years. So he doesn't want to be 41 when he gets out of there. But realistically, we'll just say average teams 33, 34. It's going to take 3 years to turn it around out there. They've already tried everything. They've tried the free agency, put money in everybody, signed Ohtani. So did not work out there for either one of the superstars for the damn Angels.
Don't look now, but the Red Sox are 2 games out of a wild card spot too. So that's kind of that could be a sleeper team there at the deadline to do something.
So many teams that you said sleeper teams at the trade deadline. Almost all of them are out in the American League East. You can argue any one of these teams could realistically still get in that wild card spot.
I'm going to call it. Erod is a future Oriole. It's my guess.
Oh, Baltimore adding some pitching. All right, well, let's just jump into some football. I really wanted to get into this running back situation here, but we'll start off with Joe Burrow. Nothing major, just a strained right calf, missed several weeks. So he's basically getting a little mini vacation out there.
He had a calf.
Calf. What did I say? Calf. I said ankle. What did I say?
No, you said calf.
Oh, I thought I said ass.
Shout out to
he had a strained ass.
Rod Marinelli for saying players had a calf when they were injured. Made it sound like they were having cows.
The running back position, disrespected, spitted on. Whatever you want to use for an adjective for what's been going on there. But Jonathan Taylor trying to seek a trade here for the Colts. Met with Jim Irsay. I don't know if they had a couple drinks together. Probably did. But the final year of his rookie contract, getting $4.3 million this season. Had an offseason ankle injury. Nothing major. He's only 24 years old. He's 18th in running back salary. Had 861 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. 2021, a huge season. Had 1,800 yards rushing for Jonathan Taylor, but with only being 24 years old, I really don't see the issue was with trying to sign him long term. If he had a knee injury going to this offseason instead of just the ankle, I could see it. But at 24, what's the big deal about just giving him a 2 or 3 year extension, which would only bring him up to 27, 28 years old, and just move forward with it? How do you feel about the Jonathan Taylor, not running backs as a whole, but just individually Jonathan Taylor in that situation with the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, what's his face? Ursay out there, no known scumbag, alcoholic, whatever you want to say. Um, the guy's young, like you said, a short term deal. If these running backs like him are out there trying to get like an 8 or a 10-year deal, good luck.
Yeah, oh yeah,
That's,
yeah.
but yeah, short term deal at 24, give him a couple of years. Even if you give him a 4-year deal, I mean, cool. He's probably going to be good at 28. The guy's a freak.
Yeah. Yep, I completely agree. That's one of them where, a lot of these guys are saying, well, you don't want to give running backs long-term deals. At 24, and if we're only talking 3 or 4 years, if that's considered long-term, I'd absolutely do it. Delvin Cook, looks like he might be a Jet. Almost 1,200 yards last season. Yeah, 1,200 yards last season, 8 touchdowns. He's only 27. Played in all 17 games last season. Still was productive. I think you might be looking at probably a 2-year contract with Cook, but I don't really see any other team really going after him. At least I haven't heard it been rumored for Dalvin Cook. So
Something that I don't understand is where is all this Jets hype coming from?
I know.
They were not a good team at all last year. They were not a playoff team. They weren't a borderline playoff team. Everyone thinks Aaron Rodgers bringing the corpses of his friends out there is going to win them a title. Like when I was on the treadmill one day at the gym, ESPN was like, are they a championship contender? No.
Nope.
They might even not make the playoffs. They stink.
Yeah, then I've been saying that the whole offseason, that division is just too tough to get over. I mean, the Jets are going to have some decent talent, but with Buffalo and Miami getting better, I mean, they're the front runners to me. I'd put both of those ahead of the Jets at this point. Josh Jacobs, last one here, had a crazy season last year. 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, had 400 yards catching. He's only 25 years old. No major injuries for Josh Jacobs as well. He's not signed the franchise tag that he was offered. Thought it was disrespectful. But Jacobs is another one. I mean, 25, I'd give him 3 or 4 years and move forward until he gets to age 29 season. Production has been off the charts every single season. He has had a lot of carries. But he's a dual back, too. You're not just getting the run game. I mean, he had, 400 yards receiving on the backfield. Is Josh Jacobs a one that you would give 2 or 3 years to?
Yeah, I think I would. I think the big thing you see in running backs, I think it's around age 28, you start to see a lot of those injuries compound for running backs. They've been in the league conservatively 7 years. If they came out, the full thing from college came out at 21 or 22. So I think up until that point, that would be my cutoff. I'm not signing a running back past age 28. And if he wants money at 28, go find, I don't know, go find somebody because I'm not paying him.
Yeah. Talk to Ezekiel Elliott about that. I can't believe that he's even being mentioned. I think the Patriots, there's no explosion in them anymore. Maybe if you're like in a short yardage situation, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, you want to run him up the gut. And it just doesn't seem there's no effort. I hate to say that, but it doesn't seem there's no effort when he's trying to break a tackle. He's going one direction, no whoop whoop, no juke. He's just going wherever the hell he's going and just falling just to get those 2 or 3 yards when he's trying to get out of there. But Ezekiel Elliott, go on. His
last snap as a Dallas Star, or whatever they're called, the Cowboys, excuse me, was him getting plowed over. Remember that?
Trying to stop the pass rush?
Yeah, he was trying to, they had him snapping by himself, and he got obliterated by a defensive player. That was his last snap as a Cowboy.
What is it, the wild card or the Wildcat formation that they used to do back in the mid-2000s?
It was the stupid cat from
Stupid Cat.
Frickin' what's his name? Mike McCarthy. Poor guy.
We got one more here. Saquon Barkley, another productive season. That's the thing, man. When if you just hear it and you're like, okay, well, running backs shouldn't get long-term deals. But when you look at this like we're doing, one player at a time, besides maybe Delvin Cook, the production is there. It really is. Saquon, 1,300 yards last season, 10 touchdowns, had 338 yards on the backfield, looked like a damn fool. As he said he would hold out, ends up signing the damn contract anyway. He signed the franchise tag, $10.1 million, $2 million signing bonus, so he's guaranteed to get that. About $1 million in incentives. Saquon, it's such an important piece to that Giants offense. 26 years old, another one. I mean, 3? We're not sitting at the negotiating tables, but there's got to be a number that these running backs are giving the teams that's got to be, because I just really don't see the reason why these teams aren't, putting these contracts out there. If Saquon wanted 3 years at maybe 45, at 50, I don't see why they wouldn't do it. These guys have got to be asking for about 5 or 6 years, don't you think? There's got to be some kind of crazy length that they're talking that these deals aren't getting done with these running backs.
So I'm reading a little bit of history. CBS Sports did a breakdown on the Barkley thing, and as of July 12th, he supposedly wanted 16 mil per year on a new deal, which I don't think is, crazy, but they say it would make him one of the highest paid running backs, which shows you the league doesn't pay running backs, obviously.
Yeah.
But, are these guys going in there saying, I want the quarterback deal where it's like a 6 or 7 or 8 year deal? Like, if that's what they're asking for, that's where the problem is, because no one's giving a running back. I don't care how good you are. Nobody's giving a running back a 6 or 7 or an 8 year deal. It's just not going to happen. They don't last that long. They last 7 years if you're lucky.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be the length of the contract and not the money. It has to be, because $16 million a year for Saquon, you're kind of getting a dual threat. I mean, he's not putting up wide receiver numbers, but he's putting up 338 yards out of the backfield. And having a young quarterback like Daniel Jones, you need that safety blanket to just kind of dump it out when the pass rush is coming and maybe getting 5 or 6 yards out of it. And Saquon's a monster. We all know, breaking tackles. So it's got to be the length of the contract instead of the money. Because 16 at 3 years, that puts you at, what, 48 million? You throw some incentives in there. That's not too bad. The salary cap's going to go up every season, especially with that new deal. I think it got with YouTube TV. I think it bumped a couple extra dollars for the NFL as a whole signing that contract. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Out of all these guys, though, which one would you sign to the longest-term contract? So we got Jonathan Taylor. We'll just leave Dalvin Cook out. But Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, or Saquon, which one would you wrap up for, we'll say, 5 years?
Taylor.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think it's even close. Followed by Barkley and Jacobs, too. But, it's funny we say that, but Jacobs led the league in rushing last year at 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Had 400 yards receiving, too.